A general and his army surrounded one small town and cut off its water. The people inside were ready to surrender. One widow decided she wasn't. The town was called Bethulia. The general was Holofernes, sent by King Nebuchadnezzar to crush every nation that hadn't bowed to him. His army was too large to fight, and too patient to wait out. Judith was a widow, wealthy and devout, who had spent years in prayer since her husband's death. When the town's leaders agreed to surrender in 5 days, she called it a test of God, not a plan. She told the elders she had a plan of her own. She did not tell them what it was. She only asked them to let her leave the city that night and trust that God wasn't finished. Judith dressed in her finest clothes and walked toward the enemy camp with only her maid beside her. She told the soldiers she had information that could hand them victory without a single battle. Holofernes was charmed at once and let her stay. For 3 days, Judith prayed each night outside the camp and ate only food she'd brought herself. Holofernes grew more confident in her and more determined to have her for himself. On the 4th night, he invited her to a private banquet and drank until he could no longer stand. His men left the tent so their commander could be alone with her. Judith prayed once, then took his own sword from beside the bed. Holofernes never woke. She and her maid walked out of the camp the way they'd walked in, past guards who'd grown used to seeing her leave to pray. This time she carried his head in a food sack. No one stopped her. At dawn she showed the town what she'd done. The men of Bethulia armed themselves and marched out as if their whole army still stood behind them. When the Assyrians found Holofernes dead, they panicked, and the siege broke without another battle. Judith was honored for the rest of her life, and the town was never taken. Her story became part of the Bible, read at Mass for centuries. Not everyone reads Judith as history, though. Many scholars read it as parable about faith under pressure, not literal history. That question of genre is part of why the book's place in the Bible got argued over for centuries. But open a Protestant Bible today, and you won't find the Book of Judith at all. During the Reformation, Reformers rejected 7 Old Testament books long read as scripture. Those 7 books are called the Deuterocanon, a second, later confirmed canon. The earliest Christians already read them in the Greek Old Testament they used every day. When the Council of Trent settled the question for Catholics in 1546, it kept them in. The Reformers, working from a narrower, later Jewish list, took them out. Same God, same history, but 2 different tables of contents. And Judith, the widow who saved a city alone, still stands on only one side of that divide.